Good evening for those of us who are in Dominica. That is the Commonwealth. I know some of you out there may not know where that little country is, but it's a country between two French countries, that is, between Martinique and Guadeloupe in the Caribbean region. And so those of you who are on this blessed rock, a special greetings, a special welcome to you. That is my people indeed, a number of you here already. And so I always appreciate your presence each and every Saturday from just about that time. Those of you in the region, it's always a pleasure to have you on board as well. And or further afield, those of you who are far, far, far away on this big blue marble, I call it. Thank you very much indeed for your eyes and ears each and every time. Folks, this night, that is the 7th night of December 2024. It's a good night. It was a good day indeed. A bit tired, but I had to make it tonight because last week Saturday I missed. I was basically caught up doing a community project for the better part of 3 days now, where we in the Cochrane community, we are doing a secondary road. These roads are normally in very deplorable conditions. And so it have to take a community some time to get things done. And so I want to thank now everyone who in one way, shape or form so far has contributed to that project. We are getting there slowly but surely. And so I want to thank everybody who contributed thus far. It is indeed a pleasure to be working with your people. Just mingle and mix it. Sometimes you live in a particular area and some people don't know their neighbor. I think we need to bring back, I think we need to bring back, as it were, the good old days where we were each other's keeper. Everyone knew each other. Not nosy business, you know, but at least just knowing certain basics about your neighbor. And so just in case your neighbor needs that help, you could lend that hand, and also vice versa. And so it's always good for community or communities rather to come together and to do certain things together. That help, bond people together, and I always cherish those moments. And so that is what my day has been up to, fixing that secondary road leading into the community. So folks, yes, it's the 7th night, as I said, of December. I missed last week, as I said, because I was very, very tired last week, but I said if I miss this week, then the workload is going to be piled up too much. And so I had to make that extra effort to be here tonight. Just in case of the content for the program where we are going tonight, first off the bat, we're going to look at our healthcare situation in Dominica. That is a thing that is always on my lips. And so I will never stop speaking about the healthcare or the lack thereof in Dominica, where Dominicans, we are concerned, unless and until it is fixed, at least to some satisfactory measure, then you can always count on yours truly to call a spade, and basically find or suggest ways that it can be improved indeed to the benefit of Dominicans by and large, and foreigners as well, because we also usually have foreigners on our shores who sometimes need some kind of health treatment. So it is not just for us, but it is for those who visit our shores as well. So we'll be touching on that in terms of giving it first knock. Also too, lest we forget, it is 2 years, 1 day on, whereby the 6th of December 2022, we had a situation, I want to call it for now, for want of a better term, in Dominica, where our political process, I am saying, and said it was hijacked by the people in power in Dominica, or the people who hold some power in Dominica as it pertains to political power. So we'll be going back there 2 years back, 1 day, 2 years, 1 day back, lest we forget. Just to jog back your memory as to some things that transpired, and we are still reeling from some of these things that transpired on the 6th of December 2022 indeed. I'll also be touching sometime later, giving you some information from my perspective, that is, as it relates to that ongoing case where Mr. Daniel Langwa is concerned and his partner who were brutally cut down sometime back in December of last year by one, allegedly for now, or at least by two, allegedly for now, as per the police in Dominica, Mr. Jonathan Lera and also Mr. Robert Snyder. They are still, I'm being told, the last I checked, at the Stock Farm prison. We all knew that Mr. Jonathan got bail, but we'll be touching on that and giving you much more detailed information sometime later. Also too, I'll be touching on the much talked about United Workers Party Delegates Conference coming up next week Sunday. That is the 15th of, 15th of December, we have been told. This program we normally touch on each and everything. So it really doesn't matter who may like what I have to say, who may not like to hear what I have to say. It doesn't really matter much. It is what it is. I normally speak truth to power based on what I know is happening on the ground. And so I'll be giving you, from my perspective, what I think about the much talked about, I must say, UWP Delegates Conference next week Sunday. A matter of fact, next week Sunday, I can tell you right now that the Civic Vibes program, which is normally aired at about 6 o'clock, yours truly and Alvin Thomas may not be here with you. Well, I will not be here. I don't know if Alvin will be there. We haven't discussed that as yet, but I'm telling you straight off the bat, I will not be here for next week Sunday, read the Civic Vibes program, because I want to let my eyes boil my peas, as it were, as to the much anticipated United Workers Party Delegates Conference come next week Sunday. Yeah. When I'm done with that Delegates Conference, in terms of my perspective, I will be giving you some bits more information as to the Civic Vibes program that is to come tomorrow. Of late, the police in Dominica have been under some scrutiny for some time. And so none other than two former police officers, they will be in the house with us tomorrow, giving us their perspective as it relates to policing, not just in Dominica, but anywhere, any country that calls itself a democratic one. And so you are in tune for a big night tomorrow, where two former senior, let me give them that handle, two former senior police officers will be gracing us with their presence tonight, tomorrow night, that is. So you don't want to miss that program indeed. All right. So folks, as we get going here, just before we get going, let me say to all of you who are, whatever sickness you are undergoing at this time, there are many forms. It comes in many forms, many shape. I just ask you to do what needs to be done. You know what needs to be done to help get rid of that ailment. Some of you needs to go the spiritual route. Some of you need to go the medical route. Some of you just need to chill a bit, you know. So whatever prescription you think that is necessary to help in the process, you can do. I think I posted that little picture sometime this week on my page, whereby it's a very simple picture, but very instructive. It really struck a chord when I saw that picture. For some people, by just doing certain things or not doing certain things, some of your problems could be eliminated, or at least be reduced. And that pic is on my profile, is on my Facebook page. And so, if you guys have been following me, you will have an idea what I'm talking about. Yeah. Very, very simple, but very, very profound indeed. All right, folks, let us move again now in terms of commencement. We know we have a building in Dominica called a hospital, the main hospital. I still call it the PMH, no matter how much renovation that was done on there, because it is still not, to me, a properly constructed building by the Chinese. Though the Chinese want to, and the government of the day would like us to forget about the good old name, Princess Margaret Hospital, and rename it to whatever they deem fit in their mind. But in my mind, it is still the Princess Margaret Hospital, so I'll be referring to it as that. There has been some renovation done. The renovations, I can tell you, have not been up to scratch as it pertains to quality where construction is concerned. You don't need to be no big contractor. You don't need to be no big builder. A matter of fact, all you need to have is sight. So just walk up the roundabout area at the Princess Margaret Hospital, and just past the roundabout, you look to your left in going up Center Roma, and just look up and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. The zinc, some of the zinc that the Chinese used on that refurbishment, some of the zinc, they are already rusting away. So that's why I said to you, you don't have to be no big contractor, you don't have to be no big builder. A matter of fact, you don't have to know anything about construction. By just seeing is proof in the pudding, proof as to what I am talking about. It cannot be under 5 years. A building of that magnitude was refurbished, as they said, and glaring in our face. It is this rotten zinc or turning rotten zinc galvanized. And so if these are left unchecked, by the next year and a half, 2 years, this zinc, parts of them will be falling down on nurses, doctors, patients alike when they are traversing that property. If you, as a homeowner, you build a house under 5 years, there are certain things that should hold up. But the quality of the materials that the Chinese, they are using on our buildings, they are so low in standard that you see it with your naked eye up front. If you go through now the hospital facility itself, you will get a much better understanding of what I'm talking about. And so I am still with the physical structure. We have not touched on the treatment or cure or service as yet. We are just on the structure. Go through the hospital. Make it your point of duty to go through that hospital, and you will see the kind of shoddy work that the Chinese have produced at that facility. Just go through. And again, you don't have to be a big time anything in terms of construction. Because if you give a contractor to build a house for you, there's certain a quality standard that is expected. And so you just walking through that facility, you will see what you will not want in your home. You will see what you will not want in your business as per quality now where construction is concerned. And you will see it glaring in your face. So don't let me tell you, you in Dominica, take a walk. It is your hospital. Nobody can prevent you. The people who work now at that facility, so it is all well and good for you to just walk through and see the deficiencies. But it is the people now who work and who are patients at that facility now, they are going through hell. So you have the bathrooms in there, they are like strainers. Water gushing from everywhere. A pail there, a tin there, whatever it is, to catch water, to catch rain water. The plumbing is another. The air condition is another story. So when you have all these things working against the patients and the workers, what do you expect now in terms of the service that needs to be rendered? And so everything is connected. So if somebody or some people like the doctors and nurses, the wardens, whoever is there, they are not in proper working conditions, obviously, you cannot expect anything better from them in terms of what they have to work with. And it is just simple as that. It's just simple as that. So when, for example, in the eye area, the place that have to deal with eyes, where you have to go and check your eyes, whatever, cataract, whatever your eyes, that section I can tell you for a fact, F-A-C-T, fact, the air condition unit, it is out of commission for some time. And so you Dominicans who needs to be using that facility in the eye care area, and I cannot vouch for the other areas, I am telling you what I know for a fact. So it may just be the other areas are not functioning properly as well in terms of proper air conditioning, but I'm telling you what I know for a fact. Appointments have to be pushed back. Appointments have to be cancelled. Patients come on the day and they are told, no, we cannot attend to you today. No valid reason, but it is that and other reasons. So I am suggesting now, some of the doctors and nurses, to me, it's better they go in the yard, in the hot sun, and perform these operations. At least the breeze from the environment will help cool the situation. But to be in a stuffed up room, ventilation is very poor, natural ventilation that is, and your AC unit is still not functioning. Now, you cannot subject people to that. But we pride ourselves on being the whatever it is in the region as it pertains to healthcare. We are resilient people. Where is our resilience in that department? The tiles on the wall in certain rooms, certain sections, they are falling off the wall. So any tile man out there know when you're applying tiles on a wall, meaning on a surface, a vertical surface, there's a certain quality that needs to be had in terms of application. If you put a tile down on the floor, maybe you can pass with but when it's on the wall, there are certain standards that must be met. And the professional tile men or tile women on here, they will know what I'm talking about. I need not go into details. So when you go in certain rooms in the hospital and the tiles are falling off the wall, so in the night about 11:30, 12 o'clock, you blow, a tile fall off the wall. You will understand now what I'm talking about in terms of the shoddy work that I spoke of, the poor workmanship that I spoke of. And so that is just part of the physical, the structure. When it comes now to the care that needs to be administered now, that is where it is doubled. And so our prime care facility, the PMH that is, certain machines are just not functioning at all. So whatever sometime you, your loved one, your brother, father may go up there with your child, you have now to be disappointed in that department. And so your next move is if, that is if, big if, you have insurance, you now have to try to fly yourself, fly your child, fly your relative out of that facility to see if Barbados can help us, if Martinique can help us, if Antigua can help us. And I'm not talking about America, and no, we are just... So what have these countries, these other countries been doing in terms of healthcare that we can run to them with our emergencies or our basic care that we cannot afford here, cannot get here? Then what is it that they have done and we have not done? What is it that they're doing and we have not been doing? Your guess is as good as mine. And so I will give you two real live experiences that a senior man faced at the PMH. And I'll give you another scenario where a toddler, as it were, faced at the PMH. And there are many in-betweens, but I'm just giving you the two on either spectrum in terms of age. One senior man, he passed at the hospital, unfortunately so. Because why? It is said by the people in the hospital now, because these people who work at the hospital, they have consciences. And so if a senior man came into that hospital with whatever, complaining of whatever, test result showed that he did not have a certain virus, a certain situation called dengue. And at the hospital, he caught dengue. And as a result of that dengue he caught at the hospital, he didn't come with it. That dengue contributed or triggered whatever he came with, worsened that situation, and this brother ended up passing, going to eternity. And I know some of you on the live feed may not agree with me. Oh, the man had to die. I am telling you guys, some of the deaths that occur in Dominica, they did not have to occur. Only if we had proper healthcare facility, a facility with proper equipments and service, most of these deaths could be avoided. Because you hear the horror stories. Some of these people who their relatives are going through this travesty, I call it, this pain, they are so hurt that they cannot even muster the energy to speak for themselves, speak for and on behalf of their loved ones. Publicly, that is. I heard of a story in Portsmouth. A man's wife passed in the hospital in Portsmouth, and he did not say or could not say or chose not to say anything because it was recorded of him that he would be talking bad of his government, your wife. And so that is how cynical, that is how ludicrous, that is how paranoia, that is how, just give me an adjective now. That is how what some people think in Dominica as it pertains to their health care. That is a right as it pertains to the United Nations. But some people are prepared to suppress it in the name of supporting whatever it is they are beholden to. That is unfathomable to me. I cannot understand it, and I will never comprehend it. But that is how some people choose to live their life. So some people, they are prepared to go home than to speak as it pertains to what is troubling them or what is not working for them. So be it. So I gave you this scenario of and real life experience of this man, very senior in years. The man worked for Dominic all his life, and in his twilight of years, he had to succumb because his country could not afford him proper treatment. He caught dengue, which worsened the situation, and he passed, unfortunately. There's this very, very, very young child. Went at the PMH. Parents complained of whatever it is. In their mind, could have been minor enough. The hospital diagnosed that child with having a certain situation. And I really don't want to put nobody on the spot, so I am being very, very vague. Because I know certain health situation, people, want it close to their chest. And I understand that, I appreciate that. But the truth must be told. So that young child was diagnosed at the PMH with something. And again, because of lack thereof of the proper equipments and proper medical care / attention, that child was left to suffer. And like any other situation, the only option we have is to go out of this country. And so a government, or what passes for a government after 25 years, cannot or choose not to bring your health care facility / care up to a certain standard, at least to meet regional standards. Something is definitely wrong, people. And so most times, when our people leave Dominica to go out there to our sister countries for care, at least they must be stabilized before they go. But I can tell you, most of these hospitals are basically receiving dead bodies. And sometimes miraculously so, because of their whatever it is, they can miraculously now, like the great one raised Lazarus. Sometimes, miraculously so, these other countries and their facilities can do some miracle by bringing back to life dead corpse. from Dominica. And vice versa sometimes. When they receive these dead cops, there's very little or nothing they can do. So it's just a matter of putting these people on a machine or machines, hoping that incalculable damage was not done already in Dominica. And it's basically the hands are tied. So it goes either way. But some of you will still jump, will still clap, will still laugh, will still be in this sort of political paranoia state of mind. For when the man who is supposed to be facilitating you and I with that kind of health care, he tells you he has health care for his children. Well, not health care, sorry, insurance for his children. And so he can fly his children and family out when they are sick. He didn't tell you he going and punch them at PMH. No, he told you the truth. So if they're two birds, he'll fly them out. If their teeth come out, like young children growing teeth, their teeth normally falls out, he will fly them out for proper dental care. If they have a gripe, he won't wait for any diagnosis at his facility. He's prepared. He said it to you. So it's not me telling you, it's not me saying. He said it to you. He is prepared to fly them out to get health care, or much better health care. What about you? And some of you. Bravo, my PM. Well done, my PM. Say it again, my PM. There's a phrase that is running in my mind now about some of you who reacted that way, but you are my Dominican brothers and sisters still. So I forgive you. So where now is that Dominica that we knew before? Where it is said that we had the best, or one of the best, primary health care in the region. People used to come to Dominica for health care, to do certain surgeries, because we were right up there. Where have those days gone? Where have those days gone, people? But we are sitting, some of us, after 25 years, through a political mess, I call it, where one man and his cronies around him continue to push a narrative. And some of you know that narrative have not been working for you. It will never work for you. But you are prepared to go on with the status quo as if, well, all is well. All is not well, my people. And so you now just need to have some discussions, privately that is, because some of these healthcare providers, they are under oath. They cannot come public with certain matters. It is against their oath. It is against their oath that they swore to. And so they never come public and make you know exactly what is the situation they're facing. But they will speak to their friends. They'll speak to their loved ones. So the information will be filtered out there so that you will know. And so when your relative is in hospital and basic medication, basic, nothing extravagant, basic, nothing to high tops, your relatives have to go and purchase those medications for you at Jolly's, at Bullseye, at Fresh Market, at wherever that sells medicine. You know something is wrong. When some of our doctors and nurses will have the guts to ask certain relatives who relatives may have passed, and that relative was using, or the person who passed was using a certain medication. And when a doctor or a nurse will ask the relative to basically donate or give these medications to the hospital so that they can treat this patient, that patient, you know something is wrong. And I'm not making up stories, people. That is real life scenario. When you're in hospital, you have to dress a wound or whatever it is. And it is masking tape and duct tape and this whatever tape that has to go around the bandage to hold it together. Someone doesn't need to tell you what is wrong. No one needs to tell you what is wrong. No one needs to tell me what is wrong. But that is our situation as it pertains to healthcare or lack thereof in Dominica. And so I'm telling you guys straight up, if you guys are prepared to come to Dominica, and that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ensure, make sure, be very sure that when you step foot here, in terms of your healthcare needs, your onions, they are on. Because you may come in and may not be able to go back out. And so if some of you guys think I am crying down my country, let it be so. But again, the facts must be mentioned. So if your hospital doesn't have paracetamol, Panadol, gauze, gauge, needles, if your hospital doesn't have that in the abundance it's supposed to have, and it is this kind of rationing thing that have to go on, I must tell it to you visiting our country. I must tell you the truth. If the meals at the hospital, that is supposed to be the nutritional aspect now to patients primarily, it is a tug of war to get proper nutritional stuff to feed the patients. Something is wrong. If the local grocers here will not take government/health ministry LPOs or IOUs, you know something is wrong. And so Dominicans, friends, and fools alike, I cannot say it any better. It is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And so whoever chooses to cover it up or plaster it up as a sore that is infested, and cover it up now. The Dominican people needs to know what they're dealing with. And God forbid, any one of you on the live with me now, your children, yourself, your relative, or anybody you know or your friend would have to visit that hospital and would have to go to their eternal home now unwarrantedly or not necessarily. That would be very unfortunate. But the reality is, some of you will only truly understand, as I normally say, what time it is when that time reaches upon you. When it hits your door. So some of you, you are right there now, you are hearing, but you're not listening. But I really look forward to see the day when we as a people now, will rise to the occasion and help fix that health care or lack thereof situation for all and sundry. I really look forward to see that day. And so, what is his name said? He had a dream. And so that is one of my dreams for Dominica. So I have a dream, yes, that one day, that Dominicans will rise to the occasion and demand better health care, better health services to the benefit of all. I look forward to that day. Let me see what some of you have been saying. I've been talking for a little while now. Mary and Pauli, something is definitely wrong with the people. How long can they do this? John Alfred writes, thank goodness for insurance and the fact that we can take care and pay for our families. Sorry for those without help. Carissa Pascal Lawrence Joseph, that's a very long name here, my friend. But lofty Dominicans do not want to pay for health services in order for the hospital to be able to afford to buy consumables. Well, Carissa, you may have a point, but to juxtapose that point, let me put it to you very directly. Someone can only give what they have. And I take your point that there are some people in Dominica who can pay and they should pay for their health services. And I take that point on board. But there are other people who, and they are in the majority, they cannot. They cannot pay because the economy is so tight that some people would rather juggle it and leave their health behind. That's how some people rationalize things. And so when the economy is so tight, like it has been for some time in Dominica, it's a matter of you have to do some juggling. And so I always like to speak to the people who are in the mass, they're in the numbers. So take for example, a young woman, father gone, no help, 3 children to take care of. And maybe her mother staying with her. So that is 4 dependents plus herself, 5. And she, that one woman, is the only income earner working for under $2,000 a month. They are renting. 500, 700, whatever it is. They have the bills. They have meals. Pay the bus. The majority of people in Dominica, especially younger, they are not working for more than nothing past $2,000. And I'm saying that might even be a stretch. $2,000. I was talking to a girl, I think I said it there one of these nights, about the situation if NEP that you get $1,000 every fortnight. And the young lady that is working as a cashier in a well-ought-to-do business place in Dominica tell me, Lofty, the NEP people, the NEP workers, they're better than me. And hear my situation. I am working at a place doing cashing duties, and I'm getting $930 every fortnight. I said, you serious? She said, yes. And that is the reality of the situation in Dominica, my friend Carissa. Yeah? So I'm on board with you, as I said. Those who can pay should pay. And to me, they should pay twice to make up for those who cannot. Once you have the ways and means, let it out. But there are people in Dominica, they are so hard-pressed that they cannot pay. And so we have this kind of WAP kind of system now in Dominica that is like one size fits all. One size cannot fit all when it comes to certain policies and the implementation of these policies. Because I'm telling you, I'm not, knocking the elderly too much. But to catch a vote, this brother, sometime back, if you're over 60, you're paying for medication. And if you do the maths, if you put it down as brass tacks, lay down on the table, you may find a good chunk of these elderlies who are not supposed to pay, can pay. And so you need to take that into consideration as well. So you may have a working woman, working man in Dominica. They are now asked to foot the bill of someone who can pay. And they really don't have the ways and means to pay or to foot that bill. So it cannot be that kind of broad brush policy to catch a vote at the end of the day. I understand young children under the age of 18, that is fine. At least it will still help the quote-unquote working people to subsidize, to, get a break. But I'm telling you, I'm being very honest with you, some of these elderly people who, as per policy, don't have to pay, some of them, the majority of them, can pay. Because if you live your life and you're 65, 70, and you did not do whatever you needed to be done to be quote-unquote, in a sort of financial ness in those twilight of years, then we say it in Dominica. There will be some people who really cannot pay at that age. So I understand that too. So I'm just bringing that perspective to you as well, Carissa, so you can understand the real situation in Dominica. I'm telling you, most of the policies that this government has put in place, it is to catch a vote. That's it. They may not tell you, they will never tell you it is to catch your vote. But at the end of the day, the motive behind that, it is to catch your vote, to put you in a bind, to put you in a trap, that you feel so trapped. Ella, I cannot not vote for him now. I cannot not vote for her now because I am... No. Typical example. Watch these buildings. Go around Dominica and do a survey. And be very truthful with your answers when you come back. And if these people are honest as well, they will tell you. They may not be full-blown labor rights like Poto, like some people I know, but they are sympathetic to the party. And so as a result of their sympathizing with the party, they are afforded a free house. There's nothing free, but it is to play on their minds. And so these free houses, I am saying, it is to catch their vote. Why don't you give somebody, quote unquote, your free house, as you say, and give them their title for that house? let the people be independent of you. But no, it is to keep you in a bind, you don't know if you come in, you don't know if you go in, and to keep your mouth shut. So that if ever you go against the grain, you may be pushed out. And so you are really existing, but you're really not living. And that is the sad reality of it. Go around Dominica, and you will see for yourself the majority of these people who are occupants of these quote-unquote free houses, they are either full-blown laborites who will tell you, leave my PM alone, or if they are not that brave, when they go in that ballot box, they will, they will do what it is they have to do to ensure that they stay in that house. And mark you, some of these people, they have their homes, they have other homes that they can live. Some of these people are renting their homes, but they are depriving others from a need in terms of accommodation. Some of these people have much better equipment than me in terms of vehicle. You see them outside, parked outside his homes. Some of them even have the audacity. They get duty-free. FA, mark on them. Their rims are shining, meaning they are not in the garden no time at all, but they are FA. Some of the SUVs, they are FA identified. No watermelon, no banana, no copra, no avocado, nothing is being transported on these vehicles, but they are duty-free. And they are packed, they are decked outside these apartments, all across the countries, all across Dominica. Go see for yourself. So if you're living in the Roseau catchment area, you don't need to go far. Go outside the one in Bath Estate, by Forestry Office, Forestry Division, the old NDC building, that one, the Riverside Apartments it is called. Go there, pass there, 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and you will see what I'm talking about. So don't let me tell you. Go and see for yourself. Go and see for yourself, people. And so Dominicans have become so wrapped up and so caught up in this kind of political quagmire. Then that is why we are where we are, because some of us, we are just, it is just, yeah. I really don't know what is going to take us out from that mess. I really don't know, people. But we must continue to push back. We cannot give up now. We have come too far to give up now. We have come too far, people, to throw in that towel. That is what all dictators want, is when you give up. Is when you throw in the towel. When you say, I can't take it anymore. And so we should never relent. We should never give in. Even if the situation is tough or rough as it is. There is a better day. There is a brighter day ahead. There is. Duvini said, when a person have to get someone to donate blood before they can get a blood transfusion in 2024, that's sad. Well, Duvini, I can't say it better than you. All right? I can't say it better than you. You may get blood. The person may get blood. At least they come in with emergency, whatever it is. I must say straight up, that's what I know. They will be attended to. But I can tell you, once you get 2 free pints of blood up there, you better have your blood donors in place after that. because that replenishing needs to come around. You may view it how you want it, but that's the reality. Ferdinand Lawrence says, for that reason alone, Lofty, I already had my last trip. Dominica. Ferdinand, good for you. Dennis Song says, well, before they come and vote, they must think of that also. I guess the idea of the healthcare that you spoke of. Thai Francis says, hope you get a little cash for mentioning the names, Jolly's Fresh Market. Well, I guess free promotion, my brother, but it is what it is. Let me see before we move on here. Gifted Daisy said, well, when they're telling supporters if workers come in power, they will have to pay hospital fees, what we expect. That again is all part of the narrative that is being pushed out there. The guy who ran that kind of narrative in Stalin's time, Mr. Goebbels, you can go look him up. He had a well-structured system to just disinformation, misinformation, propaganda, just feed the people with so much trash that after a while, even the people who are supposed to know better, they are bamboozled by all these, so Dominica is all about this. Everything is just coming at us. And so there are, sadly so, some people who ought to know better, then they fall right in the trap. Let me see here. Free houses with more stress in that house. Dennis Song, that is a good point you made there. Let me just elaborate on that point that you just made there before we continue. Free houses with more stress in that house. And folks, anything I tell you, you could go to any bank tomorrow morning or Monday morning and you get cash for it. You see that point that person made there, that some person? This quote-unquote free houses is more stress. Let me give you some real life stories that I know about, and I can punch it at you. Because these people give me the green light to punch it at you. Punch it. They will not speak. They choose not to speak because you know how it is. And so some of these houses, I can tell you, some of these houses, at least one or two that I visited, they are infested with mold. They're infested with mold. Because why? These houses were not properly constructed. Again, this catch a vote kind of a schematics. And when it rains, these buildings are like strainers. And so imagine you in your roof, you have the wall dripping down water, the roof, the center, the eave, the wherever, just dripping. Everything is just coming down. And so I have visited some of these homes whereby as soon as I attempted to go in to ascertain what the occupant was saying, I had to step out. Because there's this mold stench coming from some of these houses. So yes, you're right. Some of these houses, they are more stressed in and out of themselves. Imagine you're living in a mold-infested area. That is your habitat. That's where you live. That's where you abode. That is where you sleep, you get up, you chill, in a mold-infested area. And so, I know you people who are sympathizers to the government, and you government people, you always take a sneak peek here now and then. Let me be very direct with you now as to some of these mold-infested houses that I'm speaking of. Just come around 1,000 feet away from me here now, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm not putting you in any goose chase. Come to Cochrane, and some of these houses that you gave your people, they are getting sick in those houses as a result of the poor sanitation, the poor environment, living environment that these houses exude. Come, I will bring you to one or two or three, all of them. So come. Some of these people, their children, they're getting sick. When you look up in the roof, you look to the sides, you look to the right, you look to the left, is water droplets, water mark all over the walls. And scent. It is stenchy, mold. You can feel it. You can cut it. It is so thick. And so these are what some of you people call ministers, pal, reps, what you give to your people. Your catch a vote scheme. So when you guys will be building your big mansion, super soundproof and leak proof and solid proof and everything proof, you giving your people crumbs that get your people sick. Eventually they will die because of lack of health care that we spoke of before. And they're just another statistic on the book. Some of these people have spent money that they don't have to try to repair these houses. That some of these houses are under 10 years of age. They have spent their monies that they don't have. And the worst part of it, they have been calling some of you for some time. And you guys are not responding to their call. And so just like your demigod said to throw water on whoever, that person wasn't picked up for incitement. I am saying now after that person, just maybe, when they call you and you never respond in normal times, when the special time come around now and they don't need to call you, but you will show up. You guys who are suffering for so long need now to take the advice of their demigod and throw hot water on these people. That is what was said. So when they come on your step, you should know what to do. Because it is very, very sick. It is very, very saddening of a situation that some of you who are in these kind of positions will put people through horror for 4.5 years. Well, not 4.5 years anymore. For a time. You guys don't attend to them. You don't take their calls. You don't respond to their messages. You come like Houdini in the night. You pass your vehicles up and your GA and you roll in. And then when that time comes around, you go back to the same people, fooling them with your little envelopes. Inscribe on them labor of love or labor love you or whatever labor do, whatever it is that these envelopes are inscripted with. And it is sad. Some of these people forget, conveniently so, their years of pain and they succumb. But I hope by me being a voice in the wilderness, as it were, the political wilderness now, that at least that voice will resonate somewhere and it will trigger some kind of positive action. And somebody may be enlightened, somebody may be empowered, and that somebody will tell that person or will encourage that other person, and it will have a reverberating effect so that the greater good of the people now in Dominica will realize where they have been, but where they could have been, and do something about their situation. That is why I speak for. That is what I speak about. So it's not that I couldn't be resting, it's not that I could have work to do, or it's not that I am just speaking because I know there's power in the wood. Just like a water, constant dripping on a solid rock will eventually penetrate that solid rock. I know. Constantly pounding at Dominicans. It may take longer than we wish, but it will eventually get home. I wish I'm alive to see that day. Let's switch gear, Dominicans, in the interest of time. I don't have any more time really now on hand to go through some of the comments. But thank you nonetheless. It is 7:15. Dominicans, much have been said about this double murder in the south where Mr. Langwa and his partner was brutally cut down. That's how I want to call it. They were brutally cut down. And we have been hearing about that case ever so often. And of late we heard Jonathan Lira, one of the prime suspects in that matter, allegedly so. He was granted bail in the tune of $1 million EC dollars in Dominica and other conditions. Now what I want to tell you, and again, you can take that as fact 101. With all that saga that have been going on, Mr. Jonathan Lera, and he wanting to get out of the prison at Stock Farm, where he is awaiting his trial. People who were in the know said that Mr. Jonathan Lera allegedly have been getting preferential treatment in the prison. And so if that is so, I would like to know, and I would like to ask on the people's behalf, why so? Why would Mr. Jonathan Lera, a man who is accused of killing two people, not just killing two people, killing his neighbors, killing people he bonded with in terms of property, in a very inhumane / brutal way, whereby they were shot. The report said acid, some kind of chemical to eat bones, were poured on their bodies. Well, acid and flesh is like, it is just, acid normally, it goes to the bone. And if you can do away with bones, then you had some intention. There was this premeditation that went into it. So it is one thing to do with the flesh, because the flesh will rot in a reasonable time. But bones have the capacity to withstand for a very long time. 20 years, 30 years, bones are there and can still solve certain crimes. Bones and teeth. And so if that chemical, I'm being told, could help could help the bones deteriorate or bring it down to ashes in terms of trying to conceal that crime, as I said, there was serious thought that went into it. And so after being shot, an acid-like substance was poured on that body. The vehicle that they were in were burnt. And it is said it was thrown over a precipice. So to me, that is killing somebody 4 times. You shot the person died. You poured acid on that person, you really wanted to do away. You didn't just want to kill the person. You wanted to do away with them. You burned them thereafter. Burned their vehicle. Unrecognized state. As a matter of fact, the police, when they went up there, they said they didn't know what they were looking at. And you plunge that vehicle, or you try to send that vehicle down at least 1,000 feet precipice deep. That means you really went out of your way to do whatever that needed to be done to get rid of these two people. And so I'm saying, just on that note, anybody that is accused of that crime, trust me, that is not murder. That is not murder again in my books. And so I know the court system have their way of dealing with things as it pertains to law. I'm not no lawyer. I'm not no legal-minded man. But I have common sense. And if a crime of that magnitude was committed to another person or another two people, whoever it is, in my mind now, that is accused of such a heinous doing, I am humbly suggesting, whatever your situation is, you're supposed to be administered, whatever it is, behind bars. Plain blank. We ain't going further with that conversation. So if you're sick of a headache, you'll get Panadol behind bars. Paracetamol, put a wet cloth on your head. If you are prostate, you get whatever machinery. You guys have money. You get your private doctor. Whatever it is. If you have cancer, you get your therapy. Whatever it is, you should get that behind bars. In my mind, that is me talking now, based on what has been unfolding. And so even putting a man like that out there, to me, it is already a travesty of justice. It is already a situation where Mr. Langwa and his partner, on that day, they turned in their graves. That is me talking. That is my comment. And I reserve my comment. I speak it in a very unambiguous manner. Unreservedly, that is. Whatever it is, that is me, people. That's how I view that matter. Whatever it is. I know there's Bail Act. I know there's a Bail Act. But trust me, 4 times in my mind, you killed somebody, stay inside. If the court grants you your liberty after the process, then I will be the one to come and unlock that gate. Farewell. So the process gone through, you are free to go in terms of you are not convicted of any crime, you are found not guilty. I will be the one to come and unlock that gate. But my friend, anything short of that, you stay in. Because that is not a joke. That is not taking a stone and find it behind somebody and the person fall down and die. No, 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 no. That is not fighting with somebody and you shot them in the process. No, 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 no. It goes more than that. So those of you who are legally inclined, you should try to understand what went into that kind of situation. And so in my books, my friend, bail is not up for discussion. Not up for discussion. It's not up on the table at all, at all, at all, at all. It should not be. But the system have a way of doing their things, so it is what it is. Do you know what I'm hearing, people? I am hearing Allegedly so. Allegedly so. In terms of preferential treatment. It is alleged that with all this back and forth and bail up and down and court and hearing and a search was made at the holding cell of Mr. Jonathan Lira. And do you know what was found in that cell? Things that other prisoners would definitely not have in their possession whilst they are in that predicament. And so I'm hearing things that like laptops, cellular phones, and other gadgets. So he is allegedly in, but has access out. So he is allegedly in, but he has access out. For those of you online with me now, it may not be plenty of you guys who is actively a chess player. So you know you can grab a chess board at your home and you can play chess with your friends. But there's the same chess scenario that you can be online and be playing chess. Yes, folks, there's online chess playing. And just like how social media have their handles, so everybody on social media have a handle. They have a name. Some people choose very vague names. They're hiding behind these names. Some people choose fictitious names. Some people choose their real names. Those who are more upfront. So my social media handle is Lofty Dura. Anybody who know me, you know me. It's what it is. There's nothing to hide. It is what it is. Similarly, in the online business where chess is played, every chess player has a handle, has a name, real or not. And based on some investigations that went on prior to this man bail hearing, people who are in the chess playing business online said that a couple times, whilst behind bars in Dominica, that name, whatever it is, that triggered back to Jonathan Lira, they saw a name that sort of triggered something in their mind that suggested to them, just maybe, it is this man that is supposed to be behind bars. Allegedly, he is online playing chess. And so the question now to the prison authority in Dominica, because that is your portfolio now. The police is not in charge of that anymore. The man is in your care. Can you verify or deny whether Mr. Jonathan Lira, a search of his holding cell, you guys found these devices to include laptops, cellular phones, and other gadgets? Question number one. And question number two, which maybe you might have to do some further or deeper investigations, whether this guy had the privilege of being online whilst playing chess, and he's supposed to be in prison where such privileges now had to be taken away. Question number two, on the table for you guys feedback. And it's in the public domain, people. Scenario number 3 about that case before I move on. I've heard a lot of chatter when this guy got bail, especially so. So you heard the Bar Association, whatever is left of the Bar Association came out. By the way, it was an unsigned letter purportedly coming from the bar. So none of the lawyers in the Bar Association did not have the gumption, did not have the gall to put a signature or couple signatures on that letter to basically authenticate it much more truly to say that it came from them. It had the Bar Association letterhead. I can go there and let somebody do that for me and type the Bar Association and just throw it out there. But for argument's sake, let us say it came from the Bar Association. You heard their piece, read the outcome of the bill hearing. And you heard the minister now, Mr. Blackmore. You heard his piece as it relates to the outcome as well of the bill hearing. And so you had a lot of chatter back and forth. But you know I'm a person, I think outside the box, people. I don't normally go with the flow. And hear my thinking on that. I am saying, based on how things have unfolded so far, I am prepared to say or to ask Mr. Blackmore, the Minister of National Security, based on his words, his sentiments, read the bail application / outcome of Mr. Lera. I am prepared to ask Mr. Blackmore, did he know that by his sentiments in the public domain now, read the outcome of that matter, did he intentionally interfere with that case so much? Just a question, Mr. Blackmore. You Minister of National Security, as it is called. Did you intentionally make those statements so that at the end of the exercise, your sentiments would have interfered with that case so much that Mr. Jonathan Lera, and by extension his co-accused, could be let off the hook? That's just a question. Because folks, they say birds of a feather flock together. And so, when Jonathan Lera and Mr. Daniel Langwa had their tie, or had their beef, as it were, before his death, before his 4 times death, where was the Minister of National Security? That, to me, fell squarely in his portfolio to have at least marshal his police and do something about the situation. The same way he could have come out now and make that big, bold statement about bail and not wanting bail and bail and bail and bail, talking like as if some hot dashing is in his mouth. He could have said that or similar sentiments before, so that perhaps Mr. Langwa maybe could have been alive today. But some of these people, they stood there. They heard no evil, they saw no evil when evil was being done. And today, some of these very same actors have so much to say. So my humble opinion, people, my humble opinion, and you know I like to tell it to you off the cuff, straight as it is, well thought out. When I heard Mr. Minister Blackmore came out with those utterances of his, I said, Lofty, as of that day, with this pronouncement, Jonathan Lehrer, and by extension his co-accused, is going to walk scotch-free. I told myself that day. I still think so. And the outcome will have to bear me out differently for me to have a different or change my thought process or my decision on that matter. So plain out, Mr. Jonathan Lehrer and his co-accused will have to be found guilty of that crime they allegedly done for me to come back here and say something differently to you guys. If needs be, apologize. But I am telling you, based on what I heard, Blackmore, that's not a Joe Blow on the street. The Minister of National Security, his utterances as it pertains to the process and the outcome and what he and his ministry is looking for or wanted or did not want, I said, Lofty, that to me is a silver platter. That to me is a golden spoon moment for Jonathan, his lawyers, his aides, his whoever, to use now as legal leverage to get off the hook. And so that is why I asked the question to Mr. Blackmore. Did he intentionally interfere in that case so much by his utterances publicly that at the end of the day, Jonathan and his co-accused will walk? You're already hearing, people. You're already hearing about how the police now that Mr. Blackmore is supposed to be in charge of, how they have not done so far an airtight investigation into that matter. So it is very porous. It is leaking water all over. And you have a policeman, you have it. Anyway, let me not go there. Control your tongue, Lofty. You have the chief investigator who likes to show himself so much in the public as if, well, he is the best thing after sliced bread when it comes to investigating matters. You heard this sort of damning report so far that the lousy job that went into the investigation so far. And so that is a second count right here. I am saying, based on what I know, Jonathan and his aides and his legal team will just tear right through. So folks, those of you who are holding your breath on this matter, because I know this case has resonated through the length and breadth of Dominica, those of you who have been holding your breath, please, you can release it now. I don't want you to die. I have absolutely no faith in anybody at all being found guilty or being convicted of these two people's lives. None. None. Time will bear me out on that. As Castro once said, history will or should absolve him. Let me see before it's 7:38, 22 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Before I take some of your comments, the UWP, as it is called, the United Workers' Party, as it is referred to, Team Dominica, as a lot of you know it as, they're having a delegates conference on Sunday, that is next Sunday. And of late, we have been hearing a lot of chatter, a lot of talk, a lot of vibes going to and through the lead up to that delegates conference. And so, as I said, people, once the good Lord above keeps me breathing, I will try to attend this delegate conference. So I will not just hear, but I will get and feel the mood of the press conference itself. Because it's one thing for someone to report to you, but it is a totally different kettle of fish, as it were, for you yourself to be immersed in it and get the vibe, get the feeling, get the mood of the situation. And so that more than the reporting, I want to be able to assess. And so, having all that chatter going around, I will not be putting any more chatter in terms of what already has gone on. What I will say for sure is that next Sunday or next Sunday's delegates conference, and I know some people don't like to hear me speak my mind, that is, but you cannot take that from me. I'll always speak my mind. I am saying next Sunday's delegates conference, based on what I've been hearing, based on what I've been sensing, based on what I've been seeing, based on what I've been noticing, all I am prepared to say now, it is that it is going to be a make or break moment, a do or die moment for the organization called the United Workers' Party. And I rest. Let me repeat. So for those of you cutting and pasting, I will cut and paste later. The delegates conference next week Sunday, it is going to be a make or break, or do or die situation for the United Workers' Party. It all depends on what goes on there. I cut. Folks, tomorrow on the Civic Vibes program, we're going to have, as I said, two former senior police officers who will be gracing us with the presence of late. As I just mentioned a while ago, the police, as an organization, they have been under some pressure from the public in terms of doing work for and on behalf of the people. Whenever a policeman or policewoman takes up that oath to serve the Dominican people, it's supposed to be of a certain standard. And you have people among us who blazed that trail already, and they are not ashamed. They worked assiduously for the country, and so at least two of them will be coming forth tomorrow to speak to us as it relates to the duty that must be performed by anybody in uniform as it pertains to law and order. So I want to think that you guys will wash your clothes, wash your plates, drink your coffee, get ready, whatever it is, for when these two esteemed gentlemen grace us with their presence tomorrow, so that you could hear much more from beginning to start as to what it really and truly entails to be an effective law enforcement officer in the Commonwealth of Dominica, and by extension any country that calls or prides itself a democratic one. That is the conversation for tomorrow. So I urge you to be in tune for that conversation on the Civic Vibes platform from 6 o'clock. Dominicans, let me see if I can take some of your comments now on the live feed, as in 15 minutes time we really and truly have to go. Marshall Lawrence says, good evening. When a country is led by one administration for too long, it deprives the nation of presenting its best. Let me take that again. When a country is led by one administration for too long, it deprives the nation of presenting its best to take on the mantle of leadership and the given opportunity, yes, that is, to take the nation to the next level. Dominica was created to be a democracy or alternate governance and not a dictatorship. Well said, well put, Mr. Marshall. I couldn't have said it any better. John Alfred says premeditated murder. At that, one guy here by the name of Bob says, you can cry in the wilderness for another 100 years. It's so they like it. Free red ham, free diapers to wipe their... All right, you're getting a little out of order here, my brother, or whoever you are. So I will, kind of curtail that comment of yours for now. We want to keep that conversation to a certain standard, yeah? Bernard said here, not Bernard, Dave Bertrand says, Lofty qualified Jonathan as one of the passport vendors. Yes, he is, or he was, to be politically correct, he was a passport seller. It's only after a pressure by the people of Dominica that his business name, that is Bois-Cotlet, that is, was pulled out or pulled down from the government's website as a passport seller. As to whether he is still actively selling passports, I don't know, but with this government, you never know. Mary L'Oreal writes, these guys should never see daylight again. I watched a documentary and oh my God, very heartless. The people of Dominica should make sure that these guys get the death penalty. The death penalty, based on what I know, was carried out when 1984. That's the last time someone was put to death. That is Mr. Newton in Dominica. Really, death penalty, Mary. That's a tough one to climb, I can tell you that, because you'll always find these people with, how you call these people? Our law system in the region, and by extension the CCG that we are sent it to, they have sort of not put it away, but they have really sort of doubled down on the death penalty as being inhumane and whatever it is. So that's a tough hill to climb, but your guess is as good as mine. John Alfred writes here, he shouldn't get any different than any other prisoner gets. After all, he should have been going for treatment instead of planning evil. Let him rot there. Alan Pierce says, Kisa, don't make joke Lofty. What was I making joke about? Alan, tell me. Who else? Who else we have here? Edna Coffee writes, that shouldn't be at all. That shouldn't be at all if he's in jail. Why does he have access to these items? John Alfred writes, his cell may have AC too. After all, he is he may be at a 5-star resort. Anymore, Malia Osri says, she's responding to some Gordon person, says you need to take a trip to Dominica. And that is what is going on here in Dominica. Ferdinand Lawrence, Jonathan dies what he wants according to the tourism minister. Jonathan dies. I don't get that comment, Lawrence, but you can straighten it up. Lily Valley says, who is that JG? Well, Lily Valley, based on my following of that matter, JJ is supposed to be a police officer. He's supposed to be in charge of that investigation where that investigation is concerned. For those of you who don't know JJ, if you were looking at I think Emo's live, my live during this bus drivers protest, he was the prominent officer on that day who held up that sign, that dispersal gas sign, and on a number of occasions he said that he's going to use tear gas on the people. So he was charged with that responsibility on that day. So if you don't know who is JJ, that person is JJ right there. He's supposed to be in charge of that investigation. And that investigation has already dead on arrival. Marijo says that. Grace Rudette says, this man is already free. It's just a matter of time for him to leave Dominica. Trying to get some fresh comments here, or new comments. Marshall Duran says, Lofty, I agree totally. Georgette Henry says, too much delegate conference, the man not in power. Too much delegate conference, the man not in power. I'm trying to make sense of that one. Tron's right, agreed with you, Brother Lofty. Them fellas are making me want to exit from supporting them with that disorganization of UWP, as if I lost trust in them fellas right now. Well, Tron, that is your comment, and I always appreciate you, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Norris Charles says, I think the last death penalty in Dominica was in 1988. Is it 1988, Norris? No, not 1988, based on, I think it's 1984. I think so. Subject to correction, I think it's 1984. So we may be 4 years, here and there, but yeah. Celia King says, Jonathan, does he meant? Celia, you need to straighten that up as well. Let me just see if I could punch some other comments here before I leave in 10 minutes time. Well, Jonathan does what he wants according to the tourism minister. That's what Ferdinand, I believe, wanted to write earlier. Bob. Lily Valley, I wouldn't call him retarded, but he was this police officer, yes, that said to the young lady, that's his name, Clint Rule girlfriend, that he wanted to pull a phone or whatever story that was going on there. So yeah, that is the JJ we're talking about. I'm being told as well from the grapevine that there's this sort of mediocrity in terms of investigations that shows up itself in the criminal investigation department primarily. And so I'm being told that some former police officers, those who did a very good job, at least 3-4 names I'm being told, they are being called back, be it on a contract or whatever it is, to sort of train or help train some of these present day officers in the force as it relates to the do's and don'ts, the A to Z of conducting a proper investigation. So let's hope that that thing bears fruit and we can see much more coming out of the police force now as it relates to results. Because it is one thing for your PRO of your police to tell you that they did so, and then the investigation is under, the matter has been investigated, and you hear no follow-up. You hear no outcome. And most of the times when we hear of an outcome, the quote-unquote criminals allegedly, they are out in the public. So let's hope that that thing bears fruit, and these former senior officers can help in that department. All right, Dominicans, if there's no more in terms of comments, Georgette Henry says, I mean Thompson is not yet Prime Minister. Okay, thank you very much, Georgette, for the correction here. Now I got your point. Read your comment earlier. So if there's no more comments, I want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you guys for your ears and your comments as well. It is this kind of conversations that about country, about where we should go as a country, that makes our country a better place. We have to continue having conversations about country. And so I thank you each and every time for your eyes and ears. So on that note, I think I'll be telling you guys good night. Whatever is left of your night, please make very, very good use of it. And yeah, I just wish the good Lord above, those of you who believe in a good Lord above, to give you that strength, so that, and that breath of life, so that you can be up and about next day, so that you can continue to contribute to family, country, and most importantly, to yourself. Thank you, Dominicans. Bye-bye. I love you each and every time. All right, before I go here, I think I may be able to punch one track at you guys. And then as I do, I will leave you guys with that one track. All right. Let me just get a track from you guys. Somebody, give me something. Give me something, please, before I go, in terms of a song that you may want to hear before yours.